us. Joseph is a alum of this high school, 2003. Thank you to the Greater St. Charles Chamber of Commerce for sponsoring tonight's event. Thank you to the volunteers that we've had to help put this on. A lot of work goes into surrounding Mr. Joseph, getting him in one spot at the same time. To our photographers and videographers for documenting this event. This is a historical event. You will hear that many times tonight because it is just that. To the City of St. Charles, I want to say thank you. To the Historical Society of St. Charles County, for more than anything, providing the things that you see out there on the easels, but also providing an education to those of us that have visited with Amy over the past couple weeks. It is amazing what you learn when you're speaking to an expert, when you're speaking to somebody that is not coming out of a textbook, but coming out of factual information, things that she has gathered and seen for herself. It is amazing what education you can get in an hour spent with her versus a year or a semester in school. A great asset to have, something that probably most of us weren't aware of. Do you know why you're here? We view you as a leader. We view you as a visionary, as somebody that can make change, make positive change in the community or in the businesses that you work. You are valuable to this community, and that is the reason that you have been invited here tonight to witness this. We also believe you are here because you're excited, as I am, to be part of this historical event. Joseph Luckett receiving the key to the City of St. Charles. The first, but not the last, to receive the key to the city. Why am I here? Why am I standing before you? Joseph and I have been speaking in person for 2 months, 70 days maybe. It doesn't. The last June, we started a connection. Last June, our country was in turmoil. Last June, we had a lot of questions. There were a lot of things that were going on. What we decided to do is we decided to start asking questions to figure out how we can fix a problem that is going on across our country. So what do you do when you fix a problem? You educate yourself. So for me, to get educated, I started making phone calls. I called my friend Corey. I said, Corey, help me out. How can I fix this? How can we fix racism? And she said, Doug, I'm scared. Scared? Why are you scared? I have 4 kids, I'm scared. I said, you live in O'Fallon, Missouri. One of the safest cities in the United States. Why are you scared? I reached up to my friend Erin, and I said, Erin, help me out. Tell me what I'm missing here. She said, Doug, I'm scared. I'm scared for my husband. I'm scared for my children. I said, you live in St. Charles. How is this possible that you are scared? I reached out to a gentleman named Pernell Witherspoon, professor from Lindenwood University. He said, call me, ask me anything you want to know. So I called him up and I said, I have questions. I need answers. I want to know how we can fix this problem. And from all 3 of those conversations, I found out that we can't even talk about racism, much less fix the problem. So we started talking. We started a conversation. We started educating ourselves. I called my good friend Mark from Vision Leadership, and I said, Mark, I want to start something. He said, what do you need? I called Martha from the St. Charles County Community College. I said, Martha, I want to start something. She said, how can we help? And I made more phone calls like that. And you could see exactly how St. Charles County responded. What can we do? How can we help? Let's get involved. And sometimes it just takes a spark. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of somebody to stand up and say, let's make a change. Because there are so many people like yourself, that are sitting there waiting for somebody to say, lead me. Lead me because I want to be a part of this. I want to make change. I'm tired of what's happening. And that's what we've done. We started a discussion. A lot of you were involved in that first Zoom meeting that we had. We had 86 people from across the county involved. The mayor was one of them. He spoke at that event. He enlightened us in his beliefs and his thinking and how our county and city are happy with what's happening. And from then, we moved forward. Do you know who else was on that call? Joseph Luckett. June of last year, he said, "Doug, let's get together." 14 months later, the man's busy. He's writing a book, he's out doing things, he's making things happen. We finally got together. And you know what I learned about Joseph? He's making our community better. He is bringing us together. He is educating us. He is opening dialogue. He is a leader in our community. If you had an opportunity to look around the room at the easels that were outside, it's clear to see that Joseph wasn't the first great black person in St. Charles City. Tonight we are doing more than honor Joseph Luckett. We are honoring those that came before him. Those that helped found this city, that built the foundation for growth, battled for what is right, and died because of it. After reading about those people, after reading about the African American community that was here in St. Charles City and County, I truly believe that Joseph Luckett should have not been the first person to receive the key to the city. There should have been many more above him. We cannot change history, but we can learn from that, and we can move forward. And today, with the help of Joseph Luckett, the recognition from the city of St. Charles, and you here tonight, that's exactly what we're doing. We're moving forward. So as you go tonight, do this. Honor Joseph. Honor all those that came before him by educating yourself and making your community a better place. Robin Williams said, "The things that matter are others, way beyond yourself." And the last thing I'll leave you with is something that I've been saying for 16, 18 months now. We are not done yet. So our second speaker tonight is Amy Haig. Amy's from the St. Charles County Historical Society. Amy?
So I'm here to give you just a little bit of a history lesson. In today's world, when we hear that somebody has received the key to the city, we may say, "Oh, isn't that nice?" Kind of a throwaway phrase. We see that somebody has been recognized for an achievement or achievements. Maybe they've raised money for projects that will benefit the community. So it's a way of thanks. Or maybe it's for an action, such as saving lives. So extraordinary efforts. But is it just an honor or a symbolic gesture? Or is there more to it than just a photo op and a news filler? Some have said that these honorifics have no real use. Well, to answer that, I think one needs to look at the history of the key to the city, or more appropriately, what it's called the freedom of the city. It's a medieval tradition which is meant to confer trust and honor. It grows from the medieval walled city whose gates were guarded during the day and locked at night. The key symbolizes the freedom of the recipient to enter and leave the city at will, as a trusted friend of city residents. The actual key to the city would function to open city gates. In modern times, an ornamental or non-functional key is presented to esteemed visitors, residents, or others the city wishes to honor. This award is also known as the Freedom of the City, and in this way, the ability to access everything is seen as the ultimate act of esteem. By the middle of the 1800s, it became customary to give a key to the city as a direct symbol of the city's wish that a guest feel free to come and go at will. Mayors and politicians hold keys to the city, the state, the nation, signifying their authority. Giving the key of the city to someone else, a visitor, a celebrity, a doctor, a businessman, shows respect and thanks. It is symbolic appreciation and ceremonial, to be sure, but it also comes with a catch, which I think is the real throwaway here and what people don't seem to realize. And for you, Joseph, as the first African-American to receive the key to the city of St. Charles in over its 250 years of existence, is that it means that we want you to be there for us. We trust in you to bring positive change to the community. We respect you for wanting to make St. Charles a better place to live. And we thank you for teaching us about the real meaning of networking. And to use Joseph's own words, it's when you have the other person's best interest in mind 100% of the time.
Absolutely.
Okay, with that interest in mind, then let me give you the PSA, or the public service announcement about the St. Charles County Historical Society. We are a private, nonprofit, 501c3 historical organization founded in 1956. We are not part of the county or the city government. There have been two prior organizations, one established in 1916 to 1924, the other 1937 to 1939. Both of these closed due to lack of interest. Amazing, because think of what was happening around these times. World War. All the information gathered by both of these organizations was given to the Missouri Historical Society, some may know it as Missouri History Museum, or it was burned. Can't believe that, burned, this precious information. The St. Charles Community Council determined that there was a need for County Historical Society with the mission to preserve our heritage and illuminate our past. The major motivator was the buildings that housed the first state capitol were becoming available for purchase, and there was an interest in protecting and restoring the first state capitol. So we've been going strong, sometimes stronger than others, for 65 years. Patrons and visitors can view records and hear stories of people, places, and events that have occurred. Like celebrating Missouri's 200th anniversary of this year, and also celebrating the renovation and opening of the first state capitol in February of 1971, 50 years ago, both historic events. And soon people will be able to come to the Historical Society to see the collection that Joseph is going to lead with us, probably on Wednesday, right? Yes. So, now, just as Joseph and Carol have invited you all to participate in this historic event, the St. Charles County Historical Society hopes that you will want to participate in helping the society and its archives with its mission to collect, preserve, and protect St. Charles County history, whether it be genealogical, or eventful, or even just the everyday, because it's all history, and you are all part of that history. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. And it is a remarkable experience when you have an opportunity to go down there, especially if you are from St. Charles or have interest in St. Charles, that's for sure. Next up, Executive Director Mark Hollander, Vision St. Charles County Leadership. Mark.
Thank you all. My name is Mark Hollander. I'm the Executive Director of Vision St. Charles County Leadership. Vision was organized and founded in 1998 as a designated partner organization for the Chambers of Commerce all throughout our county. Since 1998, we've provided an experiential training program for more than 650 leaders from all across our community. Each year, from a group of applicants, we select 35 participants to join us on a 9-month journey to learn more about our community in an effort to provide them with the information necessary for them to make the decision on where they can plug in best in our community. We study tourism, education, media opportunities, county government, health services, social services, nonprofit organizations, economic development, state government, and first responder information. Honestly, it's a cool field trip every single month, but it's also a tremendous way for us to learn about our community from dozens of perspectives and work closely with the diverse cross-section of our community, intimately within a small group setting, that 35-member class, but also as a much larger networking opportunity all across our community. We work hard to choose a diverse group of class participants, not only in ethnicity, but also job classification and job responsibilities. We want a fire chief sitting down with a bank teller to work out solutions that make our community better. Those perspectives are vital to our continued growth and improvement as a community. It's an honor today for me to represent Vision Leadership as we celebrate with Joseph Luckett, 0 to 100, and the whole team of leaders around this organization. We want to build a stronger community, and we look forward to our continued partnership and teamwork to strengthen St. Charles City, St. Charles County, the state of Missouri, and our nation, one relationship at a time. We're proud to have been a part of starting the conversation, but we look even more forward to continuing the conversation. Thank you for a chance to be a tiny part of tonight's celebration for tonight's honor. Thank you very much.
Mayor Dan.
It's a pleasure to be here with you all tonight. I'm glad to see all the different people represented in the crowd. That's very important to St. Charles. We're a welcoming city. We welcome every group, except for the mayor and Fallon. Down there in the front seat, I said, you know, you look like your date forgot to show up tonight. So we're very honored to have you with us, Bill. Thank you for being here. Actually, I'm here tonight to talk to you about Joseph Luckett. I met Joseph only recently at a book signing at La Belle Vie in Frenchtown. Incidentally, some of the best food in St. Charles, and it's owned by Mr. Mark Hollander and his lovely bride. I told Mark that I was one of tonight's speakers, and that I was telling everybody that I knew about how good the food he is at his restaurant, how good the food is. It's delicious. He said, how can you do that? I said, what do you mean? He said, you've had the old-fashioned omelet 19 times. You've never eaten it. That comes with gravy on it. What can I tell you? No. So, I'm not a lifelong friend, buddy, mentor, or even an associate of Joseph Luckett. But what I am is a good judge of character potential. Personally, I'm a lifelong friend and student of Norman Vincent Peale, Dale Carnegie, Earl Nightingale, and those other icons of positive thinking and planned growth and achievement. Norman Vincent Peale was the renowned author of the book, How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. Carnegie wrote, among others, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I was fortunate enough in my private sector life to handle the national advertising for the Dale Carnegie Institute of America, and that was a dream come true for me. I tell you this only because you need to understand the context in which I met and evaluated Joseph Luckett. I get a lot of requests to do a lot of things for a lot of people. And I want to make sure that the people that I do things for are people that are worthy of that, not because of me, but because of what I stand for the city. I saw a smart, passionate, articulate, and focused individual who I knew was going places, unlimited places. It didn't take long for me to size him up, and after I read his book, 0 to 100, I knew my assessment was spot on. This kid was going someplace. I would be remiss at this point if I didn't amend my evaluation of Joseph and include his wife and partner, Carol Lynn Hinkle-Luckett. They say behind every successful man is a woman. Well, this woman is not behind anybody. She's right there, shoulder to shoulder with Joseph every step of the way. Now about the book. I hope you all have read it, otherwise you won't get much of this. I don't know much about coffee, and I only drink decaf myself, but it still gave me a buzz. The insights and processes it lays out seem to me a guaranteed guide path to networking success. But as Joseph points out, you've got to drink the Kool-Aid and do the work. He states the benefits gained from this book are based upon how closely you follow the principles of the book. That's an all too familiar caveat. I remember when I took the course to get my real estate license, real estate icon Gordon Gundaker said, 50% of you will fail and will not get your license. You'll fail because you won't do the work. You won't study, and you'll fail. Or half the class flunked. Another example to support Joseph's follow the principles quote is a clear vision of an end product or result. The old adage, people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan, is too often true. My mentor, Earl Nightingale, put it this way: you wouldn't board a ship to sail the ocean if you didn't know where it was going, when you should arrive, and what you would do when you got there. A plan is tantamount to success. Know who, what, when, where, and why before you start your networking journey. Use Joseph's book as your compass. It will guide you to success. Another of Joseph's admonitions is the fact that many people understand and acknowledge the benefits of networking, yet again, don't necessarily follow the principles. When I was a young businessman, a friend of mine by the name of Bill Weber told me always eat lunch with someone who can improve your knowledge, skill, or connections. Don't eat lunch with your buddies. Don't eat lunch with your friends. Do that on the weekends. Do that after hours. Use your business life, plan for success, and meet with people that you need to learn from. And make sure you return the favor by reciprocating, just as Joseph states in his 51-49% rule. It's been a lifelong lesson for me, and one that has borne incredible results. As an avid self-help, positive thinking, and entrepreneurial reader, I recognize not everything in Joseph's book is new. Much of it is basic. Most of it is tested and true. But the way he has organized, processed, and presented it is truly new and exceptional. He has a grasp for and a talent to see the end product all as one consistent effort. He also has the ability to offer his vision in an easy way to implement tutorial. 0 to 100 is truly the best book on network, the gold standard of global networking, and the #1 international bestseller. As a result of that, I will close with this proclamation. You want to come up to that? This is the whereas stuff, right? Yeah, all right. Whereas Joseph Luckett is a St. Charles favorite son, and whereas Joseph was adopted by James and Harriet Luckett and became the middle son of 17 siblings, and whereas he spent his formative years in a Christian and nurturing family unit, and whereas Joseph was formally educated in the St. Charles school system, attending St. Charles West High School, St. Charles Community College, and the Lindenwood University. And whereas he met Carol Lynn Hinkle and formed a relationship that evolved into today's dynamic partnership. And whereas Joseph's personal drive, coupled with his acceptance of a broad-based mentorship, helped him form the framework of a new and forward-seeing networking concept. And whereas his formulation of 0 to 100 has elevated the industry to new and more productive outcomes, and whereas Joseph Luckett is promoting and sharing his program to the benefit of thousands of others, now therefore I, Daniel J. Borgmeyer, Mayor of the City of St. Charles, Missouri, do hereby congratulate Joseph Luckett on his current and future successes. That's profound. Mark. I'll sit with Bill.
So you don't need me to tell you who's next. But I am extremely privileged that he asked me to introduce him. You know, a 60-day bond doesn't seem like much, but we have so much in common. You're so passionate, not only about life, but about other people. It makes that bond very easy. I am truly honored to introduce my friend, Joseph Luckett.
Sorry, Paul. Well, look at that card. Yes, thank you. Good evening, you all. Good evening. Before even getting into the conversation I want to have with you all this evening, I cannot begin to tell you how jacked I am. I'm excited I am. I think sometimes I sit in front of people and I have to contain my energy because I think that I will end up scaring them. Because I'm so excited, and it's not excited from the information that you guys are going to be hearing me share with you all this evening. It's just excited to be alive, especially given 2020. A lot of things happened in 2020. A lot of people did not make it in 2020. You know, all of us are here. And I often tell people that it's one of the best things that all of us are doing is we're not kissing worms. We're all here. If you've ever heard that adage. So let's get into it. Hello and welcome to this evening's historic event. Now, before we get into this evening's talk, can I ask that everyone look at the camera and show those beautiful pearly whites and give one big smile so that we can document this historic time. And now we're going over here so we don't miss anybody. So one of the things that I'm in love with is a great saying that says a rising tide lifts all boats. And so this picture that's just been snapped is going to live at the St. Charles County Historical Society, so everybody in this room's legacy will forever live on.
as people dive into that. So I think that is something you all should celebrate just for yourself. We will not only share this photo on social media, but it will also be held in the St. Charles County Historical Society in the archives for the public to be able to see. So by taking the photo, each person in this room is now a part of the documented history. So moving forward, most people are not aware of the St. Charles County Historical Society, but they will moving forward. Before I get started, I would like to acknowledge several dignitaries in the audience this evening. Is Mayor Hennessy of O'Fallon, Missouri here, or anyone who represents the city? And then Mayor Dan Wardmeyer, will you stand again, please? Thank you for saying yes to the invitation to be here. Each person is here and has been invited with a lot of thought. You are people who have let me into your love and like space. Which leads me to this quote: never go where you're celebrated, never go where you're just tolerated, only go where you're celebrated. Each person here has celebrated with us so much for that, and I am truly forever grateful. I want to start by telling you a little bit about my history. As a boy, I was given up by my biological parents and fostered by a family that loved me so much that they wanted to adopt me. Those two loving humans who are no longer with us. Harriet Lee Luckett and James Edward Luckett. Those two humans, whew, you always knew where you stood. That's one thing I loved about them. You always knew where you stood. I was an enthusiastic and super happy St. Charles boy that grew up in an awesome neighborhood on Quinley Street with funny and interesting neighbors. I went to Monroe Elementary School, Jefferson Middle School, St. Charles West High School, St. Charles Community College, and a tiny stint, so small you could blink and miss it, at Lindenwood University. I was not the best student. I was in special ed classes throughout my school years. But when I would open up my history book in school, I'd always wonder, how do you get into this book? What kind of values does one need to create so that they can be remembered forever and read about like these folks? I always wondered, how do you get a park or a street named after you? Well, now I know how to receive a community honor, and I'm genuinely grateful to know. I'm that same enthusiastic and joyful boy who beats the odds of the cards he was dealt with as a man. Despite growing up as a black boy in a predominantly white community, despite the media portrayal of African Americans as gangsters, drug dealers, thugs, incompetents, and second-class citizens, being adopted despite foster care statistics, and despite being in special ed classes throughout my time in school, I succeeded in accomplishing something for the community. In the words of Martin Luther King Jr., judge a man not by the color of his skin, but by the content of his character. Let that resonate with you. I am physical proof that not all African Americans are alike, are like what the media shows you. I'm a 37-year-old man who has never done a drug, never had alcohol, and never been incarcerated. I'm the founder and CEO of a global startup company called 0 to 100, seeking to bridge division through networking and relationship building. I'm the author of the #1 international best-selling book, 0 to 100, the gold standard of global networking. I've brought many races and cultures together for the sole purpose of enhancing both business and our personal lives. My mission is to lead positive change for the entire human race through St. Charles, the region, the nation, and most importantly, the globe, using business networking as my vehicle to make that happen. I advocate for networking that includes everyone regardless of creed, culture, gender identity, ethnicity, and language across the world. I'm a guy who has joined other African American firsts in history, like W.E.B. Du Bois, who was the first black person to earn his PhD from Harvard in 1895. A first should always open the door for many more to follow. Du Bois opened the door for many African Americans to follow in his footsteps. Now the number of black Harvard PhD holders is so high, it's hard to keep track of. But as you have seen from the display of panels here with the St. Charles County Historical Society tonight, there were many African Americans that made history in St. Charles and were not adequately recognized for their contributions. York was the slave of William Clark and went on the expedition westward with Lewis and Clark. He was crucial to the explorers' success as he hunted for badly needed food. Smooth relationships with Native American tribes, cared for the ill, and helped discover new plants and animals. He asked to be free at the end of the expedition, and Clark did not free him until at the last 10 years of his life. Jean Baptiste Point du Sable was Haitian-born and a French African descent. He was noted a fur trader and the quintessential frontier Renaissance man. He was highly educated and spoke French, plus many Indian dialects. Point du Sable is the man responsible for founding the city of Chicago. He moved to St. Charles towards the end of his life, had property here, and was buried in St. Charles Borromeo Cemetery. That's why receiving this honor is bittersweet. It's sweet for the obvious reasons. I am grateful to be recognized, but bitter because this is the first time in 250 years that an African American was not overlooked for this honor. Now, if I was to pause for a second, 250 years. You know how long that is? I hope this tradition to giving a key to the city of St. Charles opens the door to many more recipients of color. I may be the first African American, but if St. Charles is headed in the right direction, I will be far from the only. So what can St. Charles community do to support this change? We can start by educating ourselves about the history of African Americans here. St. Charles and St. Louis have the most extensive collection of slave freedom suits in the country. For many decades, the Franklin School was the only school for black children in the greater St. Charles area. My parents attended that school, and several of my relatives can be seen in the yearbook on display this evening. Blacks have lived in segregated divisions in St. Charles since they were finally freed from slavery. How many of you knew about this? How many of you learned this in school? We can start by prioritizing teaching this history in our schools and our community. I would highly suggest watching content with your kids that provides some helpful perspective from African Americans. I recommend movies such as Hidden Figures, Just Mercy, The Banker, and lectures accessible on YouTube, including Deconstructing White Privilege by Dr. Robin DiAngelo, Debunking the Common Myths White People Tell About Race, also by Dr. Robin DiAngelo, and Post-Traumatic Slave Disorder by Dr. Joy DeGruy Leary. If you're interested in more suggestions for content, I'm happy to provide that at the end of the event. Know that this content and conversation about it may be uncomfortable, but change typically is. This is what truly moves progress forward and can lay the cultural groundwork for much slower moving policy and law changes. Expanding your circle and building relationships with people outside of your race and culture is one of the most meaningful, one of the most powerful means for change. If you don't have any African American friends in your circle, you can start with Joseph. You can also start by making plans with people right here in this room. If you can build a relationship with an African American who you can talk to as you digest the content I've recommended you watch, that's all the better. so that we don't let another 250 years pass before another minority is recognized for their accomplishments in this community. I hope you commit to networking with minorities in St. Charles throughout your community, the region, and worldwide. We have the opportunity to make St. Charles a model of progress for other cities around the world to follow. Let's take that opportunity. In closing, I would like to thank those who made tonight possible. My parents, Harriet and James Luckett. All of my family, because I'm one of 17. Rachel, Holtbrew, and all the volunteers with St. Charles West High School. My K through 12 teachers. Mayor Dan Borgmeyer. Amy Hake, and the board members from the St. Charles County Historical Society. Our sponsor for this event, Scott Tate and the Greater St. Charles County Chamber of Commerce. My friend Doug Raines for serving as MC this evening, who helped organize this event. My content writer, Anya Overman, who helped turn my thoughts into this speech, otherwise I would still be talking. And my wife, Carol, also known as POTUS. I don't call her princess, I call her queen. Queen, a princess has already arrived. A queen is consistently evolving. Sharing this moment in history with you all has been what I call the 3 Ps. It's been a plum, pleasing pleasure sharing this time with you all. Thank you.